Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
What is up, Cal fans? We are back after a long break, almost 7 months off. We are back to talk about Cal football, the upcoming season. It is late July, which means we're about a week away from summer camp starting, which for those that don't know is really fun, filled with two-a-days, amazing food, staying at Bowles Hall, and that's an interesting experience. But you can feel it. Football's in the air. We're back. We are officially back. Well, our opening segment is going to be, where the F have you guys been?
Where have we been? Where haven't we been?
So I think, Rob, nothing interesting has happened in my life. So I would like you to start us off and talk about all of the interesting things that you've been doing, especially over the last couple of months.
Yeah. The brunt of everything kind of happened over the last 2 weeks, I'd say. But I took a trip out to Korea. I went home. Originally planned it for a month, but while I was there, I noticed that our former defensive back and one of the original members of the Takers, Cam Bynum, was hosting a skills camp and a flag football tournament in Seoul, South Korea. And so I tried to find a way where I could get in contact with him just to see if he needed anything with boots on the ground in Seoul. And I asked one of my dear friends on the Cal football staff, Marshall, if he could get me introduced, and Marshall said that Norm knows, and so he put us in a group chat with everybody. So it was Norm, me, Marshall, and Cam, and then Cam and I split off and just started talking, and he was like, "Are you going to be there at the end of June, early July?" Because he wanted to come in a week before his camp, and then his camp was going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and he was like, "You gonna be there?" And I was like, "I'm not. I haven't planned it, but sure, I can change my flight." So he was like, "Yeah, let's do that. Like, it'd be great to have you." So changed my flight, and stayed an extra month, and so I just traveled with family and did Korea things for another couple weeks, and then cool enough, there was a flag football tournament the week before Cam's skills camp and challenge. So we went out to, or thankfully they were happy to have me. They paid for my lodging and everything. So we went out to the very east coast of South Korea, and near the water and the beach, there was they rented a field, and it was I think it was 10 teams or 12 teams. It was a co-ed flag football tournament with teams from all over. Team from Australia, team from where else? Like all over Asia. A couple of the military bases in South Korea also fielded teams, and then a couple of Korean teams as well. And so that was a 3-day thing, or 2 days. Tournament was Saturday, Sunday. We went out on Friday. And then the following week, Cam comes in on Tuesday, and then I'm with him Tuesday night, or Tuesday, Wednesday. He took the day off on Thursday just to rest before his skills camp on Friday. And then the skills camp on Friday, skills camp Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon was a flag football tournament. And then Sunday was also a flag football tournament, and then award ceremony and finish. And so that was his time there. During his time there, like, we did a bunch of things. We went to the Palace. We dressed him up in the King's attire with his entire family, took pictures and all of that. Took him to eat good Korean food. He wanted to kind of enjoy the community, the flag football and the football community out there. So what we did on Tuesday was we went out to a field. Funny enough, Andy, the field that a lot of these flag football teams and tackle football teams practice at is where I grew up. It's in my old neighborhood. I had no idea this field was used for that purpose. But it's a school's field that turns into a community field starting at 6, and then the lights go on and stay on until 10 o'clock. And so we went there, and Cam loved it. The vibe of the field. There's a track around the field, so there's run clubs going around. On the edges of the field are kids with their soccer coaches doing little soccer clinics. There's a bunch of tennis courts off to one side, people playing tennis. There's a couple basketball courts off to one side, people playing basketball. And then in the middle of this field is just teams have cordoned off with pylons, like for flag football teams, tackle football teams, and they're just getting their practices in. And it happens on this field pretty much every single night. And so when he gets there, and it's cool, right? Because it's a field in the middle of Seoul, so the background around you are apartment buildings that are lit up and, billboard signs and whatnot in this metropolis city. So, and he goes in and a bunch of people recognize him, ask him for pictures and all that. But for the most part, he's just a guy. He's just a guy that's there. So he's there and he's, coaching the guys, letting them do one-on-ones with his younger brother, who is a corner at Centennial down in Corona. And so he came along too, and they're getting their reps in. He's coaching his brother. He's coaching the Korean guys. And his brother and Cam loved it so much that they were like, we want to run it back. So we went back on Wednesday. Wow. And in the evening, and more people showed up, just word of mouth, right, through the grapevine in the flag football and football community. So guys are there just learning. They're recording everything. They're video recording everything. Any morsel of information and critique and teaching that they can get from Cam, they're trying to absorb, right? How often do you get the chance to just get football questions answered, get your stance corrected, get your footwork aligned, just every single thing Cam's looking at from either a DB or even sometimes he's teaching the wide receivers too, it's from an NFL player. And Cam, this humble man is they're all here for me. And I was like, yeah, do you not understand the gravitas that you have as an NFL player coming here and putting yourself into the community and willing to sacrifice your time and your knowledge and imparting it onto these guys that, just have a love for the sport. And it was an incredible experience. And then the crazy part, I didn't realize this either. The flag football tournament that he hosts is one of the premier ones that happens in Asia every year now. So Cam's done this camp called Camp Beasy where he does, skills challenges and the flag football tournament. I think this was volume 6, if I'm not mistaken. This was his first one outside of the Philippines. All the other ones he's done inside the Philippines because that's where he spends his offseason because his wife's from the Philippines. Cam is also part Filipino and then, now that they have a daughter too, that's where they spend their off seasons. And so this was their first foray into, kind of expanding that out. And there were 12 teams that showed up, right? There were teams from Malaysia, I think, was there a Singapore team? I think there was. Hong Kong, China, Japan, even a Team USA, consisting of actual Team USA flag football members. And they came in. And so the talent and the people that you're going to play against was top notch. And it was there was also an Australian team too. I'm friends with those guys, so I can't leave them out. And so, yeah, it was crazy to see. I didn't realize how much football had grown in that country since I had left. And I told every single person I met, I was like, if this was here when I went to school here, me and my buddies would have played. Me and buddies would have easily played. Because we couldn't get into football because the only thing we had for football was tackle. and we couldn't get the waiver signed by enough parents to be able to play it against the Army schools. And nor did we probably get any of the bodies enough to be able to play it, right? But 5-on-5 flag is just so much more easily accessible to all these people. And so it's cool to see it thriving back home. And man, I miss it. I miss going out to practices on Thursday night and just sitting there, on that field and just taking pictures and video, and, guys just, trying to get better every single day. And yeah, it's still surreal to me. I don't feel like I'm back in the States yet, but, here we are. And the community, man, embraced me. I have never felt so, I don't know what the word is. There's not quite a word that I can think of that encapsulates like how I felt when I was leaving. But I guess it would, if I were to pick a couple words, like it would be, I think, respected, rejuvenated. Like one of the things that stuck with me that Cam said, and it stuck with me too, was Cam, I think, was it on that second night we were there on Wednesday, we're chatting on the side as guys are doing one-on-ones and drills. He's like, I can't slack anymore. He's like, these guys are trying to get better every single day, but like they go to work. Like a lot of these guys are like, either college students or like postgrads, and they go to work, right? Some of these guys went to their own flag football team practice at 5, finished at 7, and then drove like 45 minutes to this field so that they can get their time with Cam, and then practice for like another 2 hours. And they're not eating or anything in that time frame too, right? There's no time to, so they're like eating at like 9 or 10 p.m. So Cam's like, I can't not give 100%. Like it helps him reset, because it's like, I'm being paid to play the sport. Like I have the resources available to play at the highest level.
Yeah.
But these guys are just trying to get better every single day. And, they're on the ground floor. There's no payout for this. Like it's truly for the love of the game. And that was the same thing for me that I took away, because when I was taking their pictures, when I was doing their video, for me, it's normal because I'm so used to doing it here and for the guys on the team and wherever I go shoot, whether it be the Warriors or whatnot. And the style that I shoot in and the editing that I do, I'm just like, I know that there's tons of people that are better than me. But for them, there hadn't been anyone that had done that stuff for them. And so they're shooting off of their phones in the dark and, whatever they can scrounge together. So for them, like my stuff was awesome because they, of course, follow NFL teams, right? They follow college teams, and they see how these players post on their social medias and these teams place on their social media. And they got a sliver of that into their own social medias, and like even just for their own keepsake. And so for me, I'm like, I have to be better too. Like I have to get better. I can't stay stagnant with my photography and videography. Like if and when probably next year I go back, like I have to up my game so that like it looks better when I go back to shoot them. And so like eternally grateful for that. I think I haven't felt this rejuvenated going into football season in quite some time. And I think the 2 months of just being there, interacting with them, and just finding that community out there was like life-changing to a certain degree. And yeah, it's I wouldn't change it for the world. There's nothing that I would trade for the last 2 months, particularly for the people in the community that we made out there. So I have a couple shout outs, and then I'll let you ask any questions or anything, or if you want to hear some fun stories, I will gladly share them.
Fire away.
I have to fire these away. Okay, I have to get these out of here. All right. Okay, so first is the man himself who runs the Korean Flag Football League, Jason, Korean American expat from Virginia. So, we connected that way. The crazy part is he he started this. Started like he didn't start the KFFL, but he started like joint football and flag football things because he grew up playing flag football with churches out in Virginia, and when he moved to Korea, like it wasn't available. There wasn't any setup for that. So he basically made this out of thin air and has sustained it and gotten it to the point where they're now having tournaments and stuff, and teams are flying in from all over the country or all over the world to play. So, Jason's my guy. And then the four young bloods of Enjin, Woo Hyuk-hoon, and Dongmin, like those guys. Cam asked for a few of those guys. Cam had seen a couple of them at his previous camps. And when we were going out on Tuesday, he texted me and he goes, "Can you make sure these guys are there?" And I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "They're really good athletes. Like, I want my brother to get work against them." And there was a little bit of a rivalry that started because they started to win some reps against his brother. And his brother, started to get into it a little bit too. And it was great to see just the competition between them. But those guys are top tier. Raw athleticism, technicians. The amount of work they put into being a skill position player is insane. And like just I'll send you some things to watch. This was a fun one. I have to shout out my friend Rachel, who I met at Camp BZ. She's from Malaysia. She actually listened to our pod on bus 2. We were talking, and then the podcasting came up, and then she was like, where should I start, or like what should I listen to? And I was like, none of this is gonna be fun for you because you're not really a Cal fan, but the one that probably will do it is bus number 2. And she listened to it and she texts me back. She says, "How did you guys survive?" We ask ourselves that every single day.
Yeah, there was definitely a point where we were perpendicular to the traffic. I was like, I don't think we're getting out of this.
We're not getting this unscathed. Someone's coming out of this with a war wound. Couple of random names to shout out. Cody Fuller from Team Australia, who, by the way, is actually flying into the States at the end of the month to play in the Women's Flag Football League that's happening in Tampa. It's a one-off. It's just a one-day thing, but they're testing it out where they drafted teams and they're playing out in Tampa, and so she got signed. And so she's flying out to Tampa to play. She's also an NFL ambassador, by the way, an NFL flag ambassador too. So she's awesome. Johnny and Alice from Hong Kong, shout out to them. Kev from Tokyo B, shout out to him. Barkley from Tokyo B, shout out to him. And then the team that has the soft spot for me is the Raptors. They're the women's flag football team out there. They're the first ones I got in contact with because they happened to show up on my feed, and that's who I went and shot every single Thursday. And yeah, they oh my God, they're so great. I miss them every single day, just because I'm in group chats with them and all that. But the names: Hebin, Choi, Moon, Chongyeon, Hyojin, Heej, Seorin, Minjung, Taeyeon, Yeonu, Jo, Gaon. All of them are great. Like the ones I was close to, definitely probably are Jo and Gaon. Yeonu a little bit too. She's actually headed to Michigan. So I told her she's going to a shade of blue and gold that I don't approve of. But yeah, so she's headed there. And then, of course, the other two, Jo and Gaon, definitely the other two that I was closest to. Jo is an outstanding human being. I say she's kind of like the heart of the team. It just kind of, the team goes as she goes, and so she's been a rock for that team, and I think there's not a lot of words that I can say regarding Jo that people probably already don't know. She's also a great people person. So she builds the community around the team and the people, and she's the glue person in the locker room that keeps them all together. Kylan, probably, she's the first person I reached out to. That's how I got connected with the flag football community out there. She's amazing, man. The sheer amount of shit that she has to deal with, and yet her love for football has vaulted her to this position in like a 2-year span of playing the sport. And man, she has a passion for the game that I haven't seen in players in quite some time. Clearly loves the sport, just wants to play the sport of football. Doesn't matter how or where or any of that, what position, none of that matters. She really just wants to play. And so, yeah, she's something else. And so, like, yeah, I wonder if they'll listen to this or not. We'll see. But yeah, all of them, miss them dearly. I hope to see them soon. And yeah, that was kind of my time in Seoul.
Imagine buying your kid a toy only to find the batteries aren't included, or buying furniture but missing the tools to build it. Frustrating, right? Now imagine the exact same feeling, but you're paying way more. That is what buying business software usually feels like. Fragmented, disconnected, and incredibly expensive. Odoo completely changes that. Odoo is a complete, fully integrated business suite where all your apps actually talk to each other. We're talking automated lead routing for your sales team, seamless AI integration, and intuitive point-and-click website builder. It's everything your business needs to scale, saving you time, headaches, and money. Stop piecing your software together. Go to odoo.com. That's odoo.com to learn more.
This sounds like an absolutely incredible experience. What I love about it for you is that you were able to connect with someone from the Cal football community,
Mm-hmm.
and then it brought you all this joy and meaning outside of it, but also still slightly related to it in regards to like what brings you joy, which is your camera work and filmography. And I hope I getting the right terms, but and I think that that's incredibly special. So I'm stoked that you are fired up and excited for what this season is. And I think that's like just a really good example of how the Cal community can kind of unite us and help us all like find more passion in our day to day. It's also really cool that you got to be around someone like Cam that, you know, treats every opportunity like, you know, with 100% effort and 100% commitment.
Yep.
The question I have for you is actually a very simple one, which is how did Cam land on Korea? Like, why Seoul?
So the simple answer to that is BTS.
What?
It's the simplest answer. Yeah.
BTS?
So you know how Cam's like known to do like the extravagant like choreography stuff for when he gets like an interception and stuff.
Yes.
And that's what he was known for. So I learned this recently. In the process of looking for like a new thing to do, his wife recommended like, why not look at BTS's stuff? You know, because they're a popular dance group, you know, like they have significant dance routines, like, and it's worldwide known. So if you did it, like people would recognize it, right? And that kind of threw him into the whole K-pop world, particularly more so with BTS than any other K-pop group right now. But you know, I'm slowly getting him indoctrinated into it. But he's one of those where he's working. He says this to everyone. He's working his way backwards as a BTS fan. So like right now, he's like starting with some of the more recent stuff, and he's slowly dipping back into the backlog of things to do from their stuff. So he's fallen in love with their music. He's fallen in love with their group. You know, the music was blasting during the flag football tournament. You can check my Instagram. There's one where he's actually like he's doing the full dance routine like to the song in the background. And so it's that's kind of how he landed on Seoul. I will say, he mentioned, so the Korean broadcasting company, KBS, they came by to interview Cam to put him on the nightly news. Basically, KBS is, the American equivalent to like NBC, ABC, CBS, one of those programs. And so he was on at 9 p.m. news, and they interviewed him, and when they asked him, like, would you ever come back, and he's like, oh, I'm for sure coming back next year. And I asked Cam, I was like, do you just say that for the sake of saying that, or like, are you actually coming back? And he's dead serious. Dead ass. He was like, I'm coming back next year. He's like, he loves the place. And he's like, I want to do my off-season training here.
Hard not to love.
Yeah. You know. Yeah.
Well
My
aware.
dad takes you to places that I rarely went as a kid. So, and he gets the special treatment when he goes to Korea and sees my family without me too. But yeah, so he fell in love with the place. I think one of the fun things that we want to try and set up next time is we want to get him set up with a dance studio in Seoul, and where he can go and actually like learn the dances and stuff over like a couple weeks. We'll see if it pans out, but that's on the to-do list for now. But that's kind of all in all to say that's how he landed on Seoul.
Incredible.
Yep.
How would you rate like the level that, because I don't know that much about flag football.
Yeah.
Like, where's the level at into like what you would see maybe in the US?
So Cam said it right, where it's like he said if you put NFL stars and you threw them into flag football and you told them to play next week, most of them probably wouldn't be able to do it. The skill set's different because it's non-contact, right? Which means you can't forcibly have contact with anyone. So even if you're a running back or a wide receiver with the ball, you're trying to evade them so that they can't pull your flag, more so than like, trying to truck them, or like, even the jukes are different because like they turn their hips a good 90 degrees so that the flag gets pulled, towards you, and they can't pull your flags. They a lot of the motions that they do is like the little hip twists, either left or right, and also the dips where they just like kind of do a lunge as they're running. So, you're expecting the flag to be, level to where you are, and then all of a sudden the flag dips below you. And then runners are also not allowed to leave their feet. So, there is that part. But going for catches and stuff, you can, of course, jump. But, there's also no offensive linemen. Like, so a lot of the plays that you see, pass concepts that we are normally used to watching football, like, aren't there. You're not, they're running maybe some similar things like mesh and, maybe some smash and some scissor routes, like just to get guys off. But like the center snaps the ball and they're out running, like they're running a route. And then there's one rusher on the defense that's allowed to rush the quarterback. So you're not the play calling and skill sets are vastly different. But the guys that have mastered it by now are really, really amazing. But Cam also did say, like, you give NFL guys like a week or more than a week, like a month to like practice and recalibrating their brain to play flag football, like they would dominate. And I would have to agree. The athletic floor is just different, right? But like even seeing some of the Team USA guys like play, it's incredible. Like it's not about top speed. Like that's not it. I think that because this field is shortened, it's a 40-yard field, right? And the width is also shortened. So you only get one first down, and then the moment you get past the halfway point, it's first and goal. And so like it's less about top speed and more about change of pace. Because you have to be able to beat guys, right? Like you can't force contact. So it's about how quickly you can, juke guys and change your pace from slow to fast. Spacing is huge. There's a lot of things that can carry over from football, but those are the main things that I've noticed that does carry over, and that's where a lot of the guys that do play flag, like played college ball at a certain level, played high school ball to a certain level. A lot of the Korean guys that play not the women's teams, but the men's teams. A lot of those guys played tackle football in college. So a lot of those skill sets do translate. But yeah, in terms of the level, like you can definitely tell, even with like some of these other teams that are just, more, because no one's being paid to play these games, right? Like no one's like a pro athlete in flag football yet. So the level is just like, or the breadth of talent is so wide.
Yeah.
Like you got guys that just come and play on the weekends to guys that dedicate to their craft, 4 to 5 hours a day. And so it's so wide.
Sick. Amazing. I mean, this is like a little Olympics preview.
It is an Olympics preview. Yeah, it is. It truly is. Yeah, some of the guys, there's a flag football tournament out in Dusseldorf, the World Championships. I think that's at the end of the month. It's like the 26th. Some of the guys that I shot are going to be there. Like Pablo, who is on Team USA, like he played quarterback for most of the teams that he played with when he was in Seoul, but like the USA roster lists him as an athlete. It doesn't list him at quarterback. And I'm like, then how good is the effing quarterback if he's listed as an athlete? Yeah, he's one of the craziest athletes I've ever seen. The change of pace, the acceleration, the shiftiness. He flips his hips like real easy. He doesn't lose speed when he makes turns. So, but yeah, I digress.
Incredible. And that's why there was no highlights from my side of life. Can't compete with that. Unbelievable. Yes, I love that story so much. Thank you for sharing. More to come. Hopefully, a chance to connect with Cam.
Oh yeah,
in the
easily.
future.
Cam's, we have his phone number now, so whenever we want to ask him to hop on to chat for a bit, he's back. He's back at the end of the month. He's still in the Philippines. So once he's back, maybe during preseason we can have him on, because it's going to be a little bit chiller during preseason than in season.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to ask him during training camp, because it's like he's probably exhausted getting back into the groove of playing football. So
we'll get him right as he's jet lagged. Coming back.
Yeah. We'll get him fresh off the plane. Much like I did in Seoul.
All right. Well, feels like perfect time to transition to the ACC Media Day.
Mm-hmm.
Where we had Tosh talk, and we had Jaren, Adam Muhammad,
and Ricky Fletcher.
The first thing I wanted to say is Tosh got jokes. I love it. He's just he had a couple of good jokes, and I thought it was great that he was so it's just like asking people, was like, hey, if they don't laugh, then you guys make sure you laugh. It was nice. It was nice to see. I think the tenor of how we talk about Cal football is so vastly different from a year ago. It's like Tosh has understood the assignment from day one that I think Ron has really talked about. The urgency that he talks about, the message that he talks about. It's really clear. Like, it's also super clear to me that there's a message that we're trying to put out there from a tonality standpoint, from a seriousness standpoint. This is intentional.
Yep.
And we're talking very seriously about not only the brand of Cal football and constantly mentioning former players. I loved the Keenan Allen, call out and the fact that almost nobody got it.
Yep.
I definitely sat there and I was like, it's Keenan, right?
Yeah, that's a old school like Cal, like if you're into the weeds like we were.
It's a good pull though. Yeah.
It's a great pull.
Yeah. So it's not just mentioning past players, but it does bring sort of a prominence to the program.
Yep.
When he does that. And then also mentioning like all of the founders. My favorite, obviously, because my dad worked for Dryers for 20 years, as a Cal alum himself, it's a great call out. However, the fun fact that absolutely nobody cares about, but I'll say it anyways, is that because of Dreyer's and Breyer's ice cream, which are two different companies, Dreyer's, when they were pushing to the East Coast, could not keep the name Dreyer's and therefore had to have two separate brands. So anyone that's from the East Coast or like a certain part of the Midwest on knows it as Edie's, E-D-Y. And everybody on the West Coast knows it as Dreyer's. So when Tosh says Dreyer's Grand Ice Cream, everyone on the East Coast is like, what? Had he said Edie's, then everyone would be like, oh yeah. So it's like, and it's also, I've met people that call it Eddie's, and it's a whole thing. Anyways, it was great. I love that he keeps shouting out Dreyer's because that's such an amazing company full of diehard Cal fans. But yeah, you can really notice the difference. And I also love that Tosh, I use the word elite a lot in my life, and he's like, I have 3 elite humans to come up here for you all to speak to. I just think it's great. I love the energy he brings, the seriousness, the sort of the task at hand being, in progress, but not yet complete by any means. And the tone that we're setting just feels, it just feels different. And it's not intended to be at all a slight against Wilcox. In fact, I think it's just building on the foundation that was built of seriousness. And now, Tosh is sort of taking it to the next level of saying, the respect is there. And now it's about really earning that credibility from a level where we're saying, hey, we want to be taken as a, top 1, 2, and 3 team in the conference rather than, maybe a top 10.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I think it's not good or bad. It's different is how we should be describing, Tosh's start here with media days compared to the prior regime. We've talked about this. I've brought this up. Like, it's going to be very interesting how fans absorb what Tosh says as the head coach, particularly that first year after games, than what they've been with Wilcox. Because the way Tosh talks isn't necessarily like, well, actually, I don't know. We haven't experienced him after like a game, right? After like a loss or whatever. So we don't really know like how he's going to dive into maybe even the football X's and O's part. But like you and I have been in the room with Wilcox, like even Sonny Dykes. But like Wilcox was at least like with the football stuff, if you asked him a football question, like he gave you a football answer. It wasn't a coach speak answer. If you gave him a narrative question, he'll give you a coach speak answer. But I think we all agreed that like he still at least believed those words that he was saying. It wasn't just like an excuse of sentences to say to just kind of skirt the question, but like he like truly believed those words that he was saying. Tosh, of course, amazing recruiter, and has a bit of that salesman pitch type of way of speaking to kind of build hype. And so I do wonder what it's going to sound like in a couple months' time when he's talking and people like want more truthful, non-salesman type answers from him for any question, regardless if it's a win or a loss. But will we ever get that from him? I don't know. That's something that we'll have to revisit in a couple months' time. But it is just interesting, just like if you take a step back and you listen to how he talks and you're like, he's pitching the university, he's pitching the program, he's pitching the hype that's built around it and the history that allows us to build this hype into this because he was a part of that. I'm all for it.
Yep.
But that's what I'm saying is like, it's different and we're going to have to recalibrate even just ourselves of how we understand how he speaks and what he's trying to get across compared to, we've had close to a decade worth of Wilcox pressers. So like, we need to adjust to this new line of conversation and speaking tone.
There's nothing that makes me feel older, maybe outside of this new gray hair that's growing in on the left side, than hearing that Wilcox we covered him for a decade. Yeah. And then hear you list off all the coaches. So I'm like, oh yeah, like we've been in the room with Sonny Dykes. And I'm like, oh yeah, I worked for Jeff Tedford. And I'm like, great. Like we're talking about 4 generations of coaches. Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a specific brand of intensity would be my guess.
Mhm.
I sort of look at it. It just depends on like, where it's going to be. It's like the early season losses are all going to be pretty baseline.
Yeah.
It's going to be the ones that are, if there's a heartbreaking loss mixed in October, that's the one that I think you're going to get that answer from. Because at the beginning, it's like the UCLA game. Even if we don't win that game, I expect it to just sort of be like, we're building up the foundation here, and more so than anything else. But there's something right about, like, of course, I'm biased towards the word and the profession of selling and sales, but there's something right about doing that every single time there's a camera on you and every single time there's an audience.
Yep.
It's actually a very smart opportunity to, and I think it's something that Saban did really well. I think it's something that 7-win Sark does really well. It's like those that can get in front of the camera, even when they're asked to be an analyst, like Saban just sold Alabama.
Yeah.
At all times.
Yeah.
He was always selling Alabama. He was selling Alabama in his commercials. He was selling Alabama on ESPN. He was selling Alabama in the postseason, even if his team wasn't in it. And I think that in the world that we live in now, which is a bit wild of like no press being bad press, I'm actually stoked to see a coach lean more into that. And, Wilcox was not that. He definitely wasn't your marketing salesman of a head coach. He's more of the tactician fisherman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's the put your head down and hard work. But like Tosh is one of those guys that's like willing to be the face.
Yep. Exactly.
Like,
and with the face becomes great responsibility.
Yep.
And with expectations come a lot of. I mean, Dabo talked about this. Like with expectations, there's changing of the fans, and we are bringing on a lot of responsibility to this season, and in an almost unfair way, to be honest. Like this is his first season, and all of us are setting the expectations at like 8 wins. And I think in any other era, like when Sonny came in, all of us were like, yeah, we went 1-11. That's okay. It was the first season. It's about building this thing. And now in this era of the transfer portal and immediate gratification, like we expect a level up from our head coaching change rather than the build of the program over time. And that's the right way to look at it, right? Because this is a short-term window here. So I think it was all really good things. I loved hearing from the players. I loved hearing from Ricky. I thought Ricky's answers were really great. And then, just to hear from Adam and then also Jaron and what it was like for them. I think someone called Adam a defensive player.
Someone definitely did. I mean, look, like the ACC Media Days, like we've seen some of it, right? With like, who they kind of allow. It's like, these guys definitely did not do their research before.
I believe the question was, Adam, how does it feel to line up against Jaron in practice and be a defensive back? And I was like, I don't think that is exactly what he does in practice, but, who knows?
Well, he technically lines up behind him to look at the defense. Yeah, not great. But yeah, this is like, it's that marker, right? Like this is our benchmark. This is like our benchmark moment. Like when this was our first kind of introduction back into the football world with this new coaching staff and this new group. And, Jaron being the face of the team from a player perspective. And then now the fun starts. Like now fall camp starts. Now, like, practices begin, and then we're at game time. So like, it's fun because like because I was out for like the baby's here. But because I was out for like 2 months, my sports timing for like calendar wise was like so off, and I come back and I'm like, wait, it's already media days, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh wait, that means football's like literally around the corner. And so yeah, we're like right there. You can almost smell it.
No, you could feel it, and I agree. It is a weird thing because it just felt like July came up really fast.
It's probably the World Cup too. The World Cup probably helped us blow past like the 2 months of nothingness. In May and June because we had stuff to watch.
Yes, thank goodness, because the Giants have done
the Giants.
No work.
We don't talk about the Giants.
No work at making a watchable product.
But yeah, we're right there. Anything else on ACC Media Days?
Did you have a favorite highlight from the players, or a favorite
there was one? They put one up on Twitter or Instagram about like, the quick hitters, and Adam Muhammad, they asked him about a celebration. I think it was a celebration, and he said a Naruto run, and I was like, that's incredible. That's incredible. That's an incredible answer. And so yeah, that was probably my biggest one. I think Jaron talking about the Poly House was a really good answer too. And him talking about, how that helped him kind of adjust and get along and feel at home last year, and then going into this year and a few more guys coming in and joining the Poly House. So that was probably a little insight into how the team kind of does the family culture stuff. But
I love the shout outs to Tyson Alualu as well. He was such a nice guy on the team when I worked on the team, and he truly was like the father figure to the entire Polynesian community on the team. So like when Tosh talks about him, I mean, it's super real. That's how it was. And he's a tremendous leader, and to have him back and relevant in the program and getting the shout outs, like I don't think the national media really understood how good Tyson Alualu was. And then he was like a top 10 pick to the Jaguars. And so yeah, I think all of that has just been, it's just been awesome. I'm really excited. And yeah, I think the Tosh's answer about the talent pipeline and how we're continuing to tap into that was great too. And I mean, especially to your point, my last point about you talking about the talent pipeline, like it's one thing to say that and to like say that you're going to build into that. It's another thing to already have built it and gotten it to the point of talent that we have accrued now, not just via the portal, but also through the high school recruiting ranks and just the amount of 4-stars and people of that, or recruits of that sort, that we have already kind of accrued going into this upcoming season. So like that's the crazy part. He hasn't been here for what is it, more than 6 months now? Like, what was that when he was hired? Yeah. And yet, like, he's not just speaking it like we're gonna bring in talent. It's like we already have, and we consistently will. Yeah.
So,
talent acquisition, as they say, the name of the game.
Name of the game.
Okay, quick transition here to the sponsorship news, because there was a really big announcement that Tosh touched on that I intentionally didn't talk about. But it is that Cal, I believe, is the first team in the ACC to get a jersey patch. It's with Dialpad
across all major sports, I think.
That was fun fact number 1. Yes. Fun fact number 2, Cal Founder Company. And apparently, from the business side of things, it's the technology from Dialpad is also going to be used within Cal Athletics. I also think there's, I can't remember if it was a part of the stadium or if it was like the suite area, but like there's a lot more to this than just like simply throwing a patch on. It's like a very cool multi-million-dollar investment into Cal Athletics from a local company, which I feel like is something that we've been trying to land for a long time.
They're based in San Ramon.
East Bay? Even better.
Yeah.
Even better. So yeah, it was incredibly cool to see like us take a step in that direction. And I think like also like we're usually late to the game on some things. We are the innovators here, which is very on brand to where we are in the Bay Area and also to Cal as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, I didn't do much research on what this company actually is or what they do. Do you have any insight into what this company is and what they actually do?
Putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
I mean, I should in theory.
Yeah.
Look, my understanding is like
tech company, right?
In the world of like, okay, this is a really bad example. Back in the day, you would have these complex businesses that would need to have, a set of phones that would sit on their desks, or you would need conferencing, you would need a receptionist, and you would need all of these things to work together so that you could have a conference call with your friend in Korea to hear about Cam Bynum's flag football camp, as you also needed somebody else in the same office, maybe in the next room to be able to do the same for, wherever their team might be. So that was a very complex setup that I think some companies like Dialpad, Ring Central sort of went after. And now, with the world of tech being sort of this agentic play, means that you have a lot of these systems that are powered by these decisions that are being made, and that would allow an AI to effectively be your digital receptionist. So my understanding is that Dialpad is, it's ultimately an efficiency play where it helps you save time, be more efficient by having like this virtual receptionist. But in this era, we call them agentic or agent or that would like, and this smart system that essentially allows for a much more efficient process for all of your needs, whether it's like, video, phone, or what have you. That's my best description of a company
mine.
that I haven't worked for.
Yeah, better than mine. I got nothing. I was expecting it just to be like a phone company, just it's a Dialpad. Yeah, this is the first one since, the Troutman Group on the field, and then the one before that was FTX,
And then kabam.
and before that was Kabam. So track record ain't great for long-term companies with sponsorship deals with us, but I think this one's a little different. So.
It's okay because Sam Bankman-Fried went to Stanford.
It's true. This is true. Also true. But yeah,
it is more evidence, I think, to the sort of the shift and the seriousness and the tenor that's coming out of this athletic department. It's coming out of this chancellor's office, and I think that the more of that we all see, like we should be excited. Like I went on LinkedIn today, and my feed was just like full of Cal stuff. And I was like, this has never happened before.
Sure,
and a lot of it was on like the Dialpad stuff. So I got to like read up on a lot more of that. But you just didn't see that connection or that connective tissue to the business world as much, right? If I went on LinkedIn, LinkedIn is like one of my least favorite platforms ever. But you go on LinkedIn and you would just see a lot of stuff that was focused on tech. Was really, I think if Cal can stay very relevant, and of course it should, in that community, then it's just going to bring more business professionals out. People will look at it. I think Tosh touched on it, right? It's like the Raiders left, the A's left, the Warriors left. It's like Cal's really the only game in town. And when it comes to entertaining clients and thinking football, we want the Bay Area to be synonymous with Cal, and then maybe a little bit of Stanford. But that's the opportunity, is to really seize that moment and And I think Cal has done a really good job at that.
My question is kind of like a bigger marketing question for you regarding this. We'll talk about the Dialpad patch itself and all that, but from just an optics standpoint, if I don't know if this is just me just rambling, but if let's say there was an opportunity for a more well-known company to get a patch on the jerseys, but the financial investment and like technological investment into the university was lesser, and the financial marketing package was, let's say, smaller, would that have been more beneficial, particularly with like this football team just trying to like vault itself up, versus going with something like Dialpad that's lesser known, but on the backside is going to be more beneficial for the program and the university?
It's a really good question. It depends who you had at the door, right? And then like you think about let's just talk about the ones that Tosh talked about at the press conference, right? It was Dropbox, Olukai, Dialpad, Dreyer's Grand Ice Cream. Who am I missing? You could always say that, like, I think that you're always at some point knowing that there is the potential that somebody comes along, right? Like, even in the world of my work, there was a conversation around, like, do you build for this client, or do you wait for, a Fab 5 or Fab 7 or Magnificent 7 client to come knocking on your door, and then you build for them? So it's a little bit of like a bird in the hand. I think that the thing is that the department is not looking at this as the only way. And so I think if somebody were to come knocking, and Steve Wozniacki, if that's the right way to say is
Wozniak.
Thank you. I got him confused with the tennis player. If Woz came knocking at the door and was like, I'm going to come bring you Apple for a serious sponsorship opportunity, there's other paths that exist. So I don't think you have to sacrifice one to get the other, is what I mean. And you also, you need to get the first, because the first opens up the doors to the rest, right? And then now there's metrics and all of these things that the Cal department can go back to Dialpad as a part of their business review and say, look, you made this investment in partnership with us. These are the amount of eyeballs we're able to bring you. Like, that's why, go back to Ron's, leave your TV on. That's why that matters, right? It's because now all of our viewership is going to contribute to better ROI for Dialpad and brand awareness. And in the software community, I will say, Dialpad is a familiar name. I heard that and was like, yep, I know who Dialpad is. I know that they're a SaaS company. I just looked them up. They're worth $2.2 billion, valued at $2.2 billion. I'm sure they're not mad about the airtime they're getting on our podcast.
Yeah.
And so I think it's good. And clearly Tosh with tweeting at tech CEOs and dropping off, I think that he's wanting to tap into that community, because everyone's looking at what Mark Cuban did with Indiana and saying that could just be Cal, right? Why not Cal? Why not choose your pick of any university? Why not Northwestern, right? Why not these universities that have these amazing, successful graduates that could come in and make a substantial gift and all of a sudden change the direction of the program in a year? I think Texas Tech was a perfect example of that. I think there's just been so many examples now where you can really see the impact of, for better or for worse, money coming in and having a direct impact on the outcome of a season.
Yeah.
So longer answer than anticipated, but I would imagine there's several partnership paths that exist, and getting the first in the door with a name as well respected in the SaaS, software as a service world, as it's known, or the tech world as Dialpad is a really big deal.
Today I learned.
All right.
Today I learned.
Love it. Love it. Nothing like a little good Texas breakdown. Everybody, I'm sure we're just thrilled about that. Okay, we're gonna move to the ESPN's Cal prediction, Rob.
Yeah.
And I want you to take us through what they predicted, how are we feeling about it, and then overall, I think we'll give our takes and then we'll wrap this thing up.
Yeah, so they have us in the section called a couple of breakaways from a run. Virginia Tech is in here, Florida State is in here, Virginia is in here, Pitt is in here, Wake Forest is in here, Duke Blue Devils is in here, NC State Wolfpack. So the majority of the middle tier teams, I think, are in this tier. But for Cal, they have us. They talk about the S&P Plus too, which is nice. They have us 57th in S&P Plus, 6.1 average wins, 4.1 wins in the ACC. One of the big things is in here that they talk about is, I'll read you the first paragraph. You've had a lot of reasons to notice California of late. Over the past 2 seasons, the Golden Bears have hosted College Game Day, birthed the Calgorithm, and beaten a couple of ranked teams and nearly beaten others. Their starting quarterbacks have been A, future number 1 pick in the NFL draft, Fernando Mendoza, and B, a blue chip freshman who threw for nearly 3,500 yards out of the gate in Jaron Kiave-Sangapolutele. They also went 13-13 in these 2 seasons. Almost any way you split it, this is a 500 program. Cal is 62-68 over the past 11 years and 149-143 over the past 24. Despite all the recent attention, Justin Wilcox could not steer out of the 500 rut and was sent packing after 9 seasons in charge. Now it's Lupoi's turn to try something different. Long regarded as one of the best recruiters in the game, the former Cal defensive lineman spent the past 4 seasons fine-tuning an excellent defense at Oregon, and he succeeded in his first task in Berkeley, keeping Jaron Kiave-Sangapolutele. The second task was building a brand new supporting cast, and then he mentions a bunch of names: Mason Mini, keeping Mason Mini, Mark Hamper, adding Washington transfer running back Adam Mohammed, Cal Poly transfer running back Carter Vargas, UTEP transfer running back Ashton Emery, Chase Hendricks, the wide receiver from Ohio, Ian Strong, the wide receiver from Rutgers, Cooper Perry, the wide receiver from Oregon, lineman Jimothy Lewis from Mississippi State, Ashton Rivera from Kent State. The one name he forgets to mention here is UNLV tight end Dorian Thomas. And also, they write, I didn't love the hire of coordinator Jordan Somerville, if only because I'm allergic to the words pro style. The 30-year-old Somerville spent the past 3 seasons in Tampa Bay with the Bucks, but there should be depth and talent around JKS. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if people remember from the Super Bowl week, but Thomas, when we were out for Super Bowl media week, there was a chance for him to talk to Baker Mayfield, and he asked Baker Mayfield about Jordan Somerville, and Baker Mayfield mentioned that Jordan was his guy, and that he's sad to see him leave, but he expects him to do very, very great things. So he just words of praise for Jordan Somerville, our new offensive coordinator.
And I'm not worried at one person writing.
Yeah,
they don't like a guy because pro style. Like, come on,
understandable, but I get it.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels a little silly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at least they got most. I mean, besides Dorian Thomas, they got all of the impact players that came in and the influx of talent that came into the program. And no one's going to give us the benefit of the doubt, right? We've been 6-6 for so long. No one's going to give us the benefit of the doubt and take that chance. But I also think, like, there were years when we looked at 60th in S&P Plus. If we could just be 60th in offense, 60th on defense, right? Like 60th was sort of that bar of, well, you could flex depending on that whole thing called like luck or lady fortune or whatever. And you could hit 8 wins while ranking 60th in S&P Plus. We just were never really, it was always like we would get to, I think, some level of the offense would be decent, and then the defense would suck, and then the defense would be amazing, and then the offense would be awful, and then the defense would be good, and the offense would be good, and special teams would be horrendous. You know, it was just sort of like, but I do think we floated in that 60-80 range. The goal should be 40 plus. If we can get top 40 S&P plus, then I think we're getting 8 wins.
I think that's an easy way to look at it. I think. We've talked about this in the past, like the higher you climb in college football, like each rung, right? And this is for every sport. The margin of error to increase yourself into that next step up gets smaller and smaller, right? And we had a large margin for error to be able to move up from where Sonny Dykes had this team to where Justin Wilcox had kept this team. Now, from there to where Tosh is, the margin for error is definitely smaller than the transition was from Sonny to Justin, but there's still some room there. Like it hasn't closed to the point of like we're either elite or slightly above elite, like or slightly below elite. Like there's still a lot of room to make up, and so I think 40 is probably the right S&P Plus wise is probably the right ranking to be looking at. I think if the stars are aligned in the next 2 years with Jaren being around, it probably pushes us into the top 20. Like if we expect Jaren to progress the way he does, or the way we expect him to progress, and we expect the young defensive guys that we brought in to progress the way we expect them to progress, and also just shoring up the offensive talent around Jaren and letting him be successful on the field with his arm. I think the stars are aligned in year 2 of Tosh and gets us into that space. But I think top 40 for this season, I think is a realistic goal. I mean, I think that should be the solid. And if we get higher than that, we'll be pleasantly surprised. And if we get lower than that, then there's still the excuse of like, we built this team like just over an off season. Like we knew it was going to take more than a single year to kind of get us into that above top 50 ranking. So, yeah.
Love it. No better place to end. I mean, or I should say I love it, and there's no better place to end. First of all, thank you all for bearing with us over the last few months. Life is busy. It is also good. And we were living, LIVIN, and, excited to be back. So what's ahead? Obviously, we have, summer camp, fall camp kind of starting out. And so that will mean a more consistent schedule for us. That means we will get a podcast coming to you all on predictions, which has been historically a very fun one. Maybe we'll get some special guests. We also have some guest podcasts lined up already.
Yep.
People inside the program. And as Rob said, we're going to do our best to try to get Cam on. So lots more to come. We'll be a little bit more consistent schedule, and then we'll get back to the season of at least one per week. And with that, I'm going to wrap. Rob, is there anything else you want to say?
No, it's football season, folks. We're back. We're back. We're back, baby. We are back.
So let me see if I can imitate you. This has been the California Golden Bearcast, a proud partner of the Blue Wire Podcast Network. I didn't say that at the beginning. If you are listening to us, you've already found us, so you know where to listen. If you want to send us any questions, you can reach out to our Gmail. You can reach out to us, or specifically to Rob, on Twitter, or to our Golden Bearcast Twitter handle. For anything else, we will see you at the UCLA Cal game to kick off the season. Come by. I'm going to host a tailgate, DJ set, barbecue. Anyone wants to come by, say hi. I don't know if Rob's going to come yet, but I'm going to be doing that.
I'll be there.
Rob will be there. It'll be great. I'll put out more details. And as always, go Bears.
Go Bears. All right, so I got to get through this. These shout outs. I told a couple people that I would shout them out, so I just have to make sure I get through this. Make sure I don't leave anybody out. If I did leave you out, I am extremely sorry. This was a long list of people that I was looking through Instagram and pictures and culling, and I think I might have missed a couple, but yeah. Please excuse me if I did. I'm sure I'll bring your name up at some point when we keep talking about football and stuff, because anecdotally, there's just so much that I learned over the last 2.5 months that, I'm going to bring up as we pod here. But first one, of course, Jason, my man from Virginia, holds it down with KFFL there. Just was so kind, gracious, generous, was willing to, pay for the lodging and host me for the flag football tournament out in Yangyang, and that was just an amazing experience. So I can't thank him enough, and I can't wait to see all the work that he does, and the potential work that I can help him out with connections out here and so on. So big shout out to Jason, and then of course the young bloods, Engin, Woo Hun, Dongmin, like those guys, man. Athletically extremely gifted, technical in their skill sets, extremely great kids, all of them. And they came out to practice at a moment's notice when I asked them to come out, because Cam asked for a couple of them, and they were out there, putting their bodies on the line, giving reps to Cam's younger brother Caleb, and they had an extremely great time, I hope, as well. And yeah, just to see their path and growth as a football player over just even a 2-month span was extremely blessed, extremely a blessed thing to watch. And so I can't wait to see what they look like when I'm back there in a year's time, and see how much they developed, and gotten better as football players. But man, some of these guys, yeah, my expectations for seeing football in Korea was extremely low, only because it wasn't existent when I was living there. And so to come back and see this, and to see the talent level that it was at, was just mind-blowing. And these guys just exceeded that to the nth degree. And I'm not just saying that as hyperbole. Like, those guys really genuinely are like extremely good athletes. So yeah, I can't wait to see those guys again. And then of course there's some other folks here. Rachel, my Malaysian sister, from another mister, who I got to know over at Cam Bynum's camp over a couple days. She's awesome. We still talk via Instagram every once in a while, and yeah, I promised I wouldn't say her nickname in Korean on the pod, but you know what? F it. Iser. It kills me. It kills me that she has a Korean name like that. A couple of the other ones, Barkley from Tokyo B, also worked closely with Jason. Stellar dude, was so kind, and was just I just still remember there one conversation that we had. It was raining. We were standing under a tent, and yeah, we just had a weird like heart to heart about like serving, and being willing to serve, and how much people should serve, and be willing to help out. And so it's one of my most memorable conversations that I had out there. So shout out to you, Barkley. Cody Fuller, of course, my Team Australia extraordinaire, who's coming to the States, by the way, in a little bit, to participate in the Women's Flag Football League Championship that's happening in Tampa Bay. Can't wait to see her in that. And she's awesome. And of course, dear friends Johnny and Alice from Hong Kong. Shout out those two. They're great. I can't wait to go out to Hong Kong to see them again, and to hang out with them. But last but not least, definitely not least, is the Raptor squad. Those girls embraced me just as like a family member. Was part of the reason flag football stuck so much for me when I was out there. And just that was the first step into the opportunities that it created with the flag football community out there, and also just getting my name out there to a certain degree. And yeah, it was incredible. I have to shout all of them out. First off, the few, Hebin, the 3D printer extraordinaire. I have a bunch of things that I got 3D printed from her, including a football clicker. I think I'm going to hand some of those out at Cal football games, and so that'll be a fun time. Choi, of course, we didn't really talk much, but she's just a solid player. Just quiet, and does her practice, and does her thing on the field, and old reliables, right? The injured trio, Moon, Changyeon, Hyojin, I wish them the best in their speedy recoveries. It's crazy that the three of them got injured in my time there. I saw Hyojin the day before I left. She came out to the dinner hobbling, despite her ACL tear, and then Chungyeon I've talked to via Instagram DMs a couple times, just wishing her some positive things in her recovery as well. And so I can't wait to see them back on the field as soon as they can get onto the field, and just continuing their football paths and their career. To a few more, Heej Sudin. Sudin's my favorite. My 동네 squatting 언니. I have so many pictures of her doing like a Korean squat. She just always was in the weird sight line for me when I had my cameras up and they weren't playing a game. So I have multiple pictures of her just like squatting and watching football. Heej, I think she's my Spanish speaking sister. She's great. She just started playing football. I think she has she has enormous potential as a wide receiver, and maybe as like a pseudo tight end. I don't know. I know you don't have tight ends in 5-on-5 flag football, but her catch radius is insane. She's still getting used to how to use her body in the sport and to be able to shield and catch balls. But you could see that there's moldability there. It's raw. That you just need the touch of someone who can mold her into the type of wide receiver that she can be. And so her athletic, ceiling is ridiculously high for the sport, and I can't wait to see how she progresses by the time I get back. And then of course, my guacamole, Captain Guac. She's silent as well. Doesn't really talk much, but she's reliable. She's consistent. I think she was she's a foundational spot for that squad, and yeah, she's great. Sorry, Andy, a couple more. The three caballeros, Minjung, Taeyeon, Yeonu. Those three, man, they made my day. Every day that I saw them. If you told me like to draw, like if you had three younger siblings or like three younger sisters, like, and to draw them out, the three of them probably is what I would imagine that to be. Man, they're hilarious. They're so kind. They're freaking adorable, honestly. The three of them, and so they've just brought me so much joy and humor every time I saw them. It just brought a smile to my face, and so I miss them dearly. I miss my interactions with them dearly. And they're definitely ones that I miss for sure, and will miss for sure until I get back out there. My last two, man, and then we can move on. Joe, man, the heart and soul of that team. She's the pacemaker. She's the glue person. She keeps the team together. She shoulders so much of the burden of being a coach, a teacher, a leader. And even off the field, she's like a big sister to all of them. And so she's probably the person I spent the most amount of time with outside of, flag football events and also with my family. There's moments where you can tell she's so fiery about the sport that she's sometimes misunderstood, and the want to win and the competitiveness is just in the S tier, that it frustrates her at times if she's not able to play to the level that she thinks she needs to be at in order for this team to win. And that's something you can't teach, right? That's just like a native fire you have within a person. So like it's extremely cool to see that there are people like that are so like hell-bent on winning. And so like and like it despite just some of the misunderstandings and some of her being misunderstood sometimes, like she never wavers. Like she's like dead set on the direction that she wants to go, and the will to win. And so she's basically the Northern Star for this team. Like she keeps them focused and centered and in the right direction, that no one's really straying from the little journey that they have of trying to win championships and awards and titles. And so She keeps them focused. She keeps them directed. She's one of the best team players that I've ever seen on any football team. Just a willingness to play anywhere and everywhere across the board as a need fits, even though it might not be a part of her skill set. And that's also her off the field too. She's an amazing human being. Absolutely, just a willingness to serve, and to just be a part of the community and to help out wherever she possibly can, even if it means sacrifices from her end. And it's just you're not going to find a better human being out there a lot of times. Last but not least, of course, Colin. She's the first person that I got connected to because I cold DM'd her on Instagram and asked her if I could come shoot some flag football things. And thankfully, she didn't take me as some weird, photographer person on the internet webs, and responded to my Instagram message. And the rest is history, right? Up until this point. And so there's not a lot of words to describe her, man. There's not a lot of words that I would use to describe her that would do it justice. She's amazing. She's just an absolutely amazing person. Like, those people that make you question how much you love something because you see how much they love it, and you're like, wait, did I really actually love this sport? Or, was it just something to bide my time? Like, she's one of those. Like, I thought I love football. I thought, Andy, you love football. But like, she loves football. And like, she has totally reset that benchmark for me of what it means to truly find joy and love in a sport. She's, man, on the field, she's talented. She's got humility. She's got commitment. She's got dedication to her craft. Off the field, she's caring. She's hilarious. She's responsible. She moves in silence. She, does a lot of the work behind the scenes in the dark and won't get a lot of the accolades or any of the praise for it. But also, like, she shoulders a lot of the burden as, being the face of the sport, both as an Asian female flag football player and a Korean flag football player. She's, a lot of people look to her for the answers, even though she's only been playing the sport for 2 years. And like, of course she's not going to have all the answers, but, she tries to make the most of all of those chances and times where she's looked upon. And like, you can definitely see it if you're one of those people that takes a step back and looks at the big picture. Like, the shit that she has to deal with on and off the field is crazy, and yet her joy and fervor for the sport does not change. She just wants to be out there throwing a ball, running routes, catching balls, and so that's crazy. It's crazy to me. Like, you and I have covered this sport for so long now. And like, even we get, like, we're not even playing, and we get frustrated and we get tired, and we like, do we really have to record today? But it's like, she'll go through a tournament and it's like, the worst ass tournament ever, and she'll come back and she's like back on the field and playing. And it's not of the mindset of like, I need to get better for the next one, which I'm sure is there, but it's like, she just wants to keep playing the sport. And so, like, man, you can't buy that. You can't buy that. You can't teach that. It's something super unique, and she also, like, teaches kids on the weekends. Like, going to see that is super awesome and super cool. She could easily spend that time, honing her own skills, but she coaches them and helps to grow the sport, and also, just imparting that like joy that she has for the sport into that next generation. And it's something super unique. And she's a hell of a competitor. She's a damn good wide receiver, despite the limited playing experience of 2.5 years. Like, it's not easy being the star of a team, right? Let alone the star of a sport in the region as a whole. And she approaches it with such a humility and down-to-earth personality that, you wouldn't be able to tell the amount of people that has her on like a pedestal of like, oh my God, that's Gown. And so, yeah, she's just an incredible person. I've had the privilege of getting to know the last 2.5 months. And I can't wait to see how her journey unfolds over the next couple of years. And so, yeah, that's those are my shout outs. Sorry if that took a while, but I had to get this out. I'm also doing this because I wanted it documented, so I can go back and listen to this and just make sure that I don't forget anything of this particularly amazing experience that I've had over the last 2 months. And so yeah, that's that.